By now you've heard about the alien sightings.
Groups fighting.
Big, tall, maybe 10, 12 foot tall.
Fireworks which were mistaken for gunshots.
Biggest shadow I think I've ever seen in my life.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Jody Dean, Mr. Hunting the Dead. Welcome back to another video. For a lot of you guys that don't know, this year started off crazy with the big viral alien witnessing. I don't really know what you want to call this. This has just gone absolutely mad, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put my voice in on it too, which I believe I have something you guys actually want to hear. I am one of the people that actually knows one of the people that were actually there at the marketplace. We call it the Bayside Mall, the Bayside Marketplace, whatever you want to call it. My father-in-law was actually one of the people that were there that witnessed this entire thing, and I want to call it a tragedy because it was a lot of young people fucking off, messing around, causing some ruckus. There was some fighting, there was some running, there was some turmoil, there was some fireworks. There were more police officers than anybody has ever seen. I haven't seen that many cops in a movie before. My father-in-law thought it was an active shooter at first, then he thought maybe he walked into a movie set because it looked unreal as it sounds. It sounds very unreal. What are my thoughts on it? Do I believe it? I'm gonna tell you guys what I feel. I do believe my father-in-law, and I believe the information brought forth. I had dropped his interview on one of my smaller channels, The Scream Scene, and a lot of people have reached out to me saying that it's one of the most credible interviews out there, and they're asking me to use my interview. They're wanting to talk to me about my interview. I said, you know what? I have my own platform. I'll talk about the interview. My father-in-law, very trustworthy guy. He was there that day having a great time. He was at a nearby casino. They won at the casino. They decided to get the hell out of there. That's exactly what you do. When you win, you leave. You don't stay around to give it back. They got out of there. They decided to hit the marketplace. They were going to eat at Bubba Gump's, do some shopping. They ended up doing some shopping. This whole ruckus just happened. It became one of the craziest things. I know you guys have seen some of the footage out there. I'm going to re-show you some of that. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my theories on the whole thing, and tell you at the end, do I believe it or not? Is it a bunch of mess that people's just out there cleaning up on? Maybe so. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start his interview right now. I'm gonna chime in here and there throughout the whole thing. Steve, you are the only person I know personally that was at this event that just took place in Miami. They're calling it aliens. From what you've told me, it seems like you believe that too. How did this all happen from the Hard Rock to the Bayside Mall? Just kind of walk us through. First off, why were you even at the Hard Rock?
Well, my sister came down to visit me, so I took her down to Miami to the Hard Rock down there to do a little gambling, have a little fun. And, you know, we got tired of gambling for a little bit, and she wanted to do some, you know, shopping, to go out and buy some stuff, you know, for the kids, take back home. So I said, the mall's not too far from here. Let's go to the mall. So that's what we did.
Like 40, 50 minutes away, something like that.
Yeah, and, you know, went in the mall. We were going to get something to eat while we were there and everything. But we're walking around, just kind of looking and everything. And all of a sudden, I hear these people started screaming. I'm not sure if I heard gunshots to begin with. We heard something like pop, pop, pop. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really sound like a gun to me. But then these people are running by us. They're panicking. And I'm going, oh, fuck, what do? Do we walk into a movie scene? You know, well, you know, because there's film production scenes going on. Maybe we slipped by and maybe they're making a movie.
Right.
But these people are running. They actually knocked my sister down for a second. She got up and she was scared. I was kind of scared. I thought it was, you know, maybe someone's in there shooting at people, like, you know, which happens. And then I seen like 2 or 3 SWAT guys run past me, and I looked the way they were going, and I could see it looked like these big, tall, maybe 10, 12 foot tall. The best I can say is they looked like they were shadows, but yet, you know, they wouldn't. They were solid. You could tell they were solid. And they were tall. Kind of make you think of the average alien that you would see on TV, you know, the big, tall.
Did it look like an alien? Like the shadow of an alien?
Well, it looked humanoid.
Wow. Okay, so first off, I want to say it's crazy. When I first heard about this whole thing, first off, I'm not big on aliens, you know, and half of me doesn't even care. If they are real, if they aren't real, I don't care. I'm still going to keep living my day-to-day life. I got a lot of stuff going on to stop and say, oh no, how do I prepare for the aliens? But to hear how big this whole thing got and to know somebody that was actually there that could corroborate this story and just say, like, look, there really was something going on there. And he's going to get into it here. He feels like they're trying to cover this whole thing up.
But not humanoid. And you know,
because no human that we know of is 10 or 12 feet tall. So I mean,
people were still running by me, scared. People were falling down and running. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell is it? I'm still thinking we walked into a movie.
It was just like something out of a freaking nightmare. Like, and it was real. I mean, like these big, tall, like shadowy things. And I looked over at you and I was like, you were gone. It was like there were so many people from that mall just running and screaming, and I mean it was scary. It almost kind of reminded me of you know, like 9/11 and all that shit when the towers fell and all that. That was kind of scary, but you know, is all the smoke. Remember when the towers fell and all the smoke came, and I mean it was just like all this smoke, but it was the shadows of this image, and they were coming at you, and I don't know, man. It was like a freaking nightmare, and it seemed like, you know, it took me forever to find you, and that, I don't want to ever come back down there if that's going to be a case like that, because, you know, this shit fucking, that was pretty damn scary.
Production.
right.
You know, I wasn't really scared, but all of a sudden my sister was running with all the people. She took off, so I took off too because I don't know what it was. I didn't want to get ate by an alien.
Yeah. So, see, I mean, right there, you know, he's explaining this exactly how he explained it to me. He said this was like a movie set. Lights, camera, action. Guess what? There was the lights. There was the action. Not a lot of people got this on camera. The footage that's out there, is it debunkable? Is it credible? When you look at it in some aspects, I definitely think there are some incredible pieces that are being shown. But what else he told me in this interview is the icing on the cake.
Right.
If that's what it was.
And people were saying that, like, they thought fireworks were going off or something like that.
It sounded like pop, pop, pop to me, but it didn't sound like a big shotgun blast or AR-15 or anything like that.
Right.
And it was off in the distance behind me. I mean, it could almost sound like someone was taking light bulbs and busting them. Pop, pop, pop. You know,
wow.
Light bulb sounds. And then there was a buzzing sound. The buzzing sound, the best I can describe it, I don't know if you ever heard those transformers when they were getting ready to blow,
Like the ones that are on, like, power poles and stuff? Power
yeah.
cable lines?
That's what it kind of sounded like. And then you could smell like, I guess maybe like burning wires. Mm-hmm. There was that kind of smell in the air too. So I didn't see anything, but I'm thinking in my mind, the pop, 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 it might have been the electrical bulbs and some kind of thing that popped.
Right.
Because that's what it sounded like, a transformer, exactly.
But inside the mall, though, that's where you
yeah, there's no transformers
right.
that you know of unless you're up in the attic or something. But, yeah, I tell you what, I always believed there's aliens, but then I backed them and thought, fuck, they're never going to be here. Mm-hmm. But I think they really were aliens. Because when we got outside, man, I bet you there was 40 or 50 cop cars all over the place. Sirens running. Cops were all in panic mode, too. You know, like I said, those three guys, I think it was 3 SWAT guys run by me. And I say SWAT because they had the vest on and they had their AR-15s.
Wow.
They were, you could tell when the look on their face, they were scared. They didn't know what they were running into.
Yeah, I would have been freaking out, dude. I mean, just hearing, like, the way you're describing it, even your sister, she's supposed to be sending us a video here in a second about what she experienced, but she was saying that there was, as these things were coming towards everybody and people were running, not only was that she did mention the sound that you just talked about, but she said that it smelled like every step that these things got closer of burning wire, she said.
Yeah, that's what it smelled like to me, too. So,
wow.
But, yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure. The only thing I know is, like, when we got outside, the police kept pushing people away.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know actually what happened because I mean, when I say away, they pushed us far away. They made us go. We got in our cars. They even escorted everybody out of the parking lot.
Dude, this shit is crazy.
Do you think that's because they knew what was going on and they were trying to possibly cover it up quickly, or?
I don't know. I don't think they knew what was going on from the looks of most of those cops. They were standing behind their cars like, is somebody going to shoot me? You know, they were like scared.
Right.
I mean, you know, you could see fear in people's face when you're in battle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the kind of fear I saw of these cops. They thought they were going to walk into something and may not come out of it. You could just see it.
So from a winning streak at the casino to the Bayside Mall, I know you had mentioned you guys were going to go to like Bubba Gump's and get a bite to eat or something like that. Had you guys ate yet whenever you were doing your shopping?
No, we hadn't ate yet. We were going to eat, but we hadn't. We just, left it because we stayed up all night long playing. And, when you're there 24 hours, you kind of
lose track. I've walked out of casinos at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's daylight.
Yeah, you don't realize it.
So you heard the pops. You heard the sounds. There was a smell of burning wire.
Yeah.
People were running frantic. There was tons of cops. This
and
thing.
Those figures, when I saw them, you could tell they were coming towards us.
Right.
But they didn't look like they were walking like a person would walk. If anything, they were kind of like sliding across maybe the thing.
Maybe like hovering?
Yeah, it could be.
Dang. Okay, so first off, imagine being this guy. You see the SWAT come in. You see people running all over. He told me he smelt what smelled like burning wire moving towards them while these huge 10 to 12 foot shadows were like almost running after them.
And very well could be. Like I said, looked like they were shadows, but at the same time, you couldn't see what was behind them. They were like a really dark figure. And it's not like the ghost figures like I've seen before and stuff.
Right.
Like that. Nothing like that.
Not like a paranormal, shadow figure.
It wasn't paranormal. I'm positive of that.
Wow. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be news stations and reporters and maybe even the FBI showing up to talk to you because, a lot of these people, for some reason, and I get it, a lot of people are saying, well, if all this was happening, why didn't people pull out their phones? It's the last thing you would think of.
That was the last thing that you'd think of. And of course, I had my phones in the car. I didn't even take my phone in with me.
Right.
And you don't think about that as a rule.
Yeah.
I mean, and because everything happens so fast.
If there was a shooting, I mean, the last thing you would do is pull out your phone and you didn't know what was going on.
Whatever, yeah. And like I said, I still in my mind thought it was a movie production, and because it just seems like
seemed unreal. Yeah.
It's just hard to believe. But I did think it was an active shooter to begin with, the way the people were running and screaming, and I thought, well, we got to get out of here because bullets will go flying. I don't want my sister to get hit. I ain't worried about myself, but
right. When you seen the big figures, never seeing nothing like that before, it probably clicked in your mind, well, maybe this is a projection or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were making a movie.
Yeah.
This is crazy!
I thought, well, maybe all these people were hired. How do we get in here?
Honestly, after you explaining it, like I can see why you would think that and how you would think that because it just seemed too sequenced and unreal. And even when I looked at the footage of all those cops there, I've never seen nothing like that.
Everywhere. I mean, even in active shooters before, when you see usually maybe a dozen cops show up.
Right.
This was 3 or 4 times that.
Yeah, it looked like they had every cop in the state there.
Yeah.
It almost would appear that they knew something that nobody else knew because, again, that's just, if you look at the footage, I'm sure I've put the footage on the screen, but look at how many cops are at this scene. I've never seen anything like that, not even in a movie.
I figured the government's going to come out with some kind of explanation of what was going on, and they're going to try to hide the fact that it could have been aliens. They're going to say it was a hoax or this or that. It just seems, the government's good at hiding shit.
Yeah.
They'll figure out a way.
Okay, the one thing he said in this whole thing is that something looked humanoid that was 10 to 12 feet tall. That threw me off. I'm like, is it alien, Steve? Is it humanoid? How do we know? Do we actually know what aliens look like? We only know what people have showed us and comics, art illustrations, you know, what the media interprets what an alien looks like, what the movie companies tell us what aliens look like. What if they look just like us, but the only difference is they're 10 or 12 foot humans? Well, I can tell you right now, the NBA would be calling you up, baby.
So, I want to ask, man, you kind of said it, but 110%, you feel like what you seen...
In my blood, I feel it was real. I really do.
Like alienistic?
Yeah, I did. In my blood, I'm surprised I didn't see a spacecraft up in the air or somewhere when we were outside.
It seemed like that would have been like the next thing that would happen.
Yeah.
That's wild. Did you feel any sort of type of way after like that?
I was nervous after it all happened. That's when I started getting really nervous thinking about it. You know, like I said, just no explanation for it.
Right.
What I saw is just spooky.
But you didn't have anything like afterwards, like any kind of like weird headaches or feelings or vibes?
I didn't myself. I'm not sure about my sister now. So I'll have to contact her and see if she felt anything, but I was okay that way. I actually wanted to go get my AR-15 and go back in there, actually, but I figured, well, that'd be the wrong thing to try to do.
What, you try and do some alien hunting?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what an experience, though, for her coming down from Indiana.
It freaked her out 10 times more than it did me.
Right. You hadn't seen her in a while. She hadn't been down, and you guys hit the Hard Rock. Everything's going good. Next thing you know, people are running. You're hearing pop sounds. You're seeing these big old alien-like figures heading towards you, and what a story to go back home and tell her kids now and her husband. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, I don't think
wild.
anybody would believe it if you went there. Because, actually, the biggest thing with me is I felt the threat was because of all the cops they had there. There must be some kind of threat. That many cops would never have been there in the first place. I mean, like I said, it had to be the whole city and even possibly the state showing up.
Yeah, I was thinking active shooter too whenever, you know, the news broke. But I was so worried because I was like, your dad's down there. You need to check on him. And it just so happened to be you were fucking there, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
coincidence is just, you know, weird.
Like I said, you're probably going to become a very famous man now. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of people knocking at the door for an interview.
I don't know. There's a lot of people there. And I've seen people with their phones taking pictures, but now whether or not the government's going to let that stuff out, I don't know.
Okay, when I hear one person I know tell the story, I get the chills. But when I hear two people corroborate the same story, you know, after hearing Steve and his sister Becky speak, I have to say I was really on board with believing that this could have possibly been something alienistic. I'm a very open-minded person. However, just like the paranormal, I feel like there's an explanation for everything. But wait, he's not done talking. Let's finish hearing this interview.
Right.
Because like I said, I know the government can hide shit.
Oh, I'm sure this is going to be covered up probably immediately.
Yeah,
so
they'll come up with some kind of, it was teenagers in there with big suits on or something. You know, they'll come up with something. They'll actually put somebody in suits probably and put them out there.
Oh, this is amazing, man. Like I'm so shocked. I did have a few friends that were down in Miami at the same time. They weren't nowhere near where this happened. But they said that there was just a vibe in Miami over the next few days. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing people talk about this situation.
And why, in my mind, why did they show up in a mall and how did they get inside the mall?
Right. That's what it would have made me feel like, damn, is this a movie?
Yeah, because like I said, that's when I went outside, I started looking up in the sky to see if there was some kind of spacecraft floating ahead.
Like aliens trying to come to buy some Jordans or something.
Yeah.
That's weird. Out of all the places in the world, why would they show up to a mall?
So let me get this straight. Steve and his sister, they're having a great time at the Hard Rock. They are winning money. They decided to go to the Bayside Marketplace. Quickly, shit hits the fan. Next thing you know, my father-in-law is in the middle of what looks like a riot. There are SWAT teams. There are people running, people fighting, yelling, screaming. Shit is getting crazy. But let's slow down for a second. The smell of burning wire is getting closer to us as we run away. We look back to see there's 10 to 12 foot shadows chasing us. But wait, it doesn't stop there.
And the bad thing in my mind afterwards too is everybody running and screaming, running away. If there was creatures from outer space came down here, maybe they just wanted to be nice and talk to us.
Right, like,
But,
hey, why are you running away from me? I'm not actually chasing you. I'm trying to be your friend.
And of course, people freaking out. If someone had a gun, they would probably shoot at them and stuff like
Right.
that. And you know,
Yeah, that's crazy. I've seen shadow figures in paranormal situations before,
I've
but
seen a lot of shadow figures over the years here. But this was nothing like what you see in the paranormal, you know, in a house or something like that, where shadow figure runs by you real quick. This was definite figures, and like I said, I want to call them like shadow figures, but you couldn't see through them.
right.
You know, you couldn't see what was behind them. So
Yeah, well, hey, man, that sounds like what a lot of other people are saying they heard. Of course, a lot of people aren't willing to show their face on this one. They're scared, and it's probably government-wise, you know.
if you see something like that, people think, well, if they talk about it, oh, that guy's crazy.
Right. Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's crazy. My father-in-law seen this with his own eyes, as well as his sister. The Miami aliens, man, that's crazy. They should make a sports team called the Miami Aliens. Yeah, but
There'll be a movie coming out now for sure with this. I guarantee you.
right. Well, you're probably going to be in it. They're probably going to be
maybe.
asking you for, you know, your autograph here soon.
The police were taking people's phones as they were trying to leave. They were confiscating them. There are people right now that were there that aren't showing their faces, probably because they're absolutely terrified. One thing that my father-in-law said to me, and he's a very smart guy, I love this guy to death. He said, Jody, I believe the government is going to try and cover this up. There's already been how many people come out and say these are not aliens? Isn't there a little too much evidence to ignore at this point?
That's amazing, man. Thank you for giving your testimony. I appreciate it. And yeah, I hope the aliens don't come and find you after this.
I know, I don't. Well, you never know. They might show up anywhere.
And now I believe it more, to be honest with you. I was kind of on the, I was like, I don't know, but man, I know one thing about you. You're a straight shooter, and it's just mind-blowing, dude. I can't even believe it. So a lot of people are even trying to say that they weren't aliens. And I've seen like police reports like, oh, they weren't aliens, blah, blah, blah. But wouldn't they say that?
Of course.
Yeah.
The government always hides stuff up.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Nobody wants the truth to be out there.
1947 with Roswell, you know, oh no, was first they come out and said it really was, and then all of a sudden no, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, so same thing. That's what will happen here.
They don't want to cause panic where there don't need to be.
Well, if they did say, well, yes, this was definitely aliens from outer space, it would cause panic across the globe. You know that.
Right.
People would freak out.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What are they coming to kill us?
And it's already
Or what?
kind of going viral enough, and the aspect of like the news is picking it up and stuff. So
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts on this whole thing. First off, do I believe that there's something out there other than us? Absolutely. I'd be a moron to say otherwise. There's no way that we are the only thing in this world. Do I believe aliens are out there? If I believe there's something else out there, then yes, of course, the answer is yes. Do I believe that the one place they decided to go when they came here was the Bayside Marketplace? I don't know. I find that a little hard to believe. What, did the aliens want some Jordan 1s? Were they trying to get that new hoodie Nike drop? Maybe the aliens wanted some Bubba Gump. Does this shit sound crazy to you? As crazy as it sounds, I have to say I believe the evidence. If you look at some of the evidence, there's some pretty compelling stuff out there, including the compelling testimonies of so many people. Were those kids fighting just to fight? Were those young adults fighting just to fight? What if everybody that was there that day was manipulated by alienistic energy, powers of the unknown? Is it possible? I don't know. Somebody told me that I couldn't eat 2 footlongs one time and I proved them wrong. I believe that a lot of things can be explained. However, when you look at the picture in a whole, when the puzzle is all put together, a picture starts to form. Is this picture vivid enough that it paints something that we can all believe. I believe my father-in-law. I believe his sister, Becky. I believe the photos and video evidence that I have seen online. There are a lot of testimonies out there that are very credible. There's a lot out there that are trying to clean up on this. This is a viral thing right now. But does that mean we should not pay attention to it? I think not. Even 5 days ago, the news said there is bizarre new video of UFO over the U.S. military base. Wow, sounds like 2024 is gonna be quite the Independence Day. Bipartisan bill would allow commercial pilots to report UFO sightings. Let me ask you something. Why do we have to have a bill to report UFO sightings? That sounds pretty friggin' weird. I can't just report a UFO sighting? I'm about to go outside and start throwing frisbees over my neighbor's house. Oh, here we go. You gotta love this one. Bizarre footage shows several UFOs hovering above Philadelphia in a cluster. There wasn't one UFO. There wasn't two. They were hovering in a cluster. I don't even like the word cluster. Classified UFO briefing. House members emerge with mixed feelings. Well, wait. Didn't the police come out and say that none of this shit happened? There's evidence out there. There's something out there. We have to know. We are not the only people out here. Are aliens here though? Why are they here? Why did they decide to go to the Bayside Marketplace? Why was there such rage unfolding all in the time that these big shadows showed up? You have to say at some point, when in Rome, or better yet, when at the Bayside Marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know how you feel. Yes, please tell me. A lot of people are telling you their stories. They're telling you how they feel. I'm telling you how I feel. I want to know, what do you guys think about this? Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. Hell, I hope my father-in-law is still my father-in-law and not some alien. It would really suck to know that Steve had been probed. Folks, you can smash the thumbs up on this video. It is free. Leave a comment below, share this on social media, and don't hesitate to subscribe. I'm Jody Dean, Mr. Hunting the Dead, and I'll see you guys in a few days.
Oh my God, Johnny, the damn aliens are coming. They're coming. Oh my God, they're gonna probe me.